What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. Now, the third episode of Wandavision is set to be released tonight. Well, technically tomorrow, but there's a ton of us who stay up all night to catch the episode whenever it's released. And we're expecting now, with the introduction of color and other characters, for this universe to start expanding in multiple ways, letting us know what's going on with the plotline just a little further, and bringing in a ton of new characters, heroes and villains alike. Well, there's one specific Easter egg that's been noticed by a couple of eagle-eye Redditors, a huge change for S.W.O.R.D. and what it might mean for their involvement with this series, and how that might lead to eventually the conflict with the X-Men down the road in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And no, it's not just because Wanda's father is Magneto. We're going to break down the change in S.W.O.R.D's name and what it means for the MCU in general, why they might be involved in this storyline, and what the plot going forward might look like for the MCU in future phases to come. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're still giving away a PlayStation 5 at 800,000 subscribers, and we'll be announcing some new Disney Plus subscriber winners tomorrow to celebrate this third episode of WandaVision. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit that subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Now, we first saw the S.W.O.R.D. base introduced at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home in the post-credit scene, when we learned that Nick Fury was being doubled by a Skrull. And in the comics, S.W.O.R.D. has normally stood for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. We assumed up until now that was their role in not only WandaVision, but going forward in the MCU, and acting as basically the growth and extension of what used to be S.H.I.E.L.D. However, we've learned via a trading card game from Topps that goes directly in line with WandaVision. No one was able to see this on screen just yet because they've obscured every single S.W.O.R.D. logo they've showed us. They've changed the name of this department to Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division. So Sentient World Observation Response Department changed to Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division. Now, if you can't immediately draw the line between A and B, then I think Vision is probably the best example of this. He is a sentient weapon, self-aware, but also a weapon capable of mass destruction. Then take this one step further and think about the scenes where the Sokovia Accords were introduced by Thunderbolt Ross, and how he explained that each one of these super-powered beings, as they were referring to them during Age of Ultron and Civil War, as enhanced. Each one of these beings now being labeled as a weapon, it sort of decreases their humanity, it unhumanizes them. Now for Vision, someone who's right on the line between humanity and sentient weapon, this is sort of a blurred area. But for someone like Scarlet Witch, she's not a sentient weapon, she's a human being first. And then as I describe this, you can sort of think about the normal conflict, the thing that's at the heart between Magneto and Professor X, and what the X-Men stand for. Society labeling mutants as weapons and or threats, when really their humanity is just the same, an allegory for the humanity and inequality that we saw right here in the United States during the Civil War, and has basically been perpetrated by human beings since the beginning of existence. Now roll back the clock to our current time with Wanda and think about all the stuff that's going to lead up to this. We've already had the Sokovia Accords, which Wanda has seen firsthand. Her father Magneto, who's always on the side of fighting the system, probably has already undergone this somewhat, but she's going to be right in line with him, especially if S.W.O.R.D. continues to interfere and label her as a threat, and or stands between her and access to Vision, and we haven't gotten there yet. Now listen, I know a lot of you probably saw this going around in the last 24 to 48 hours, and if you haven't, I'll bring you up to date. Paul Bettany just let us know that there was an erased Avengers Endgame scene in which Wanda would have seen all the collected weapons and debris from the Avengers Endgame battle and the destruction of the Avengers base, and amongst all this machinery and clutter was Vision's dead body, really dehumanizing him. And you have to think there's a possibility that S.W.O.R.D. is still in possession of that body while she's in this alternate reality. Eventually, she's going to want access to that, and if they're simply labeling him a sentient weapon or just a weapon at that, there's going to be this sort of humanism at heart at play here, and that's what's going to follow into the future of the X-Men and how they're dehumanized. Now, S.W.O.R.D. itself actually has X-Men Easter eggs built into it, and we've already reported on several times here at the channel, industry insider Mikey Sutton reporting that Beast is expected to make his debut during S.W.O.R.D. among a ton of other villains and heroes we're probably going to see during this WandaVision. I would suspect we're actually going to see several X-Men members before we ever get to a Sword series or that Secret Invasion down the road. Either way, they're making it very clear how the governmental agencies view superheroes, labeling them as weapons and threats right off the bat, and that sort of language and tone after a while will flow over into what's the normal population, and we're just now starting to see a little bit of that with Spider-Man Far From Home. Up until now, the superheroes haven't had to hide their identities, and we've seen several times when kids have come up to take pictures or fans have come up to take pictures, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Endgame, they seem to be celebrated, but there's a double-sided coin to that. With fame can come the dark side as well, and that's something that Peter Parker is about to experience in Spider-Man 3. Speaking of which, the middle piece between Wanda and Doctor Strange, they are slowly going to start to build out how people feel in a geopolitical sense, especially within the United States, about superheroes, how the government wants to treat them, and how the population wants to treat them and view them as well. We know there's going to be a chasm in Spider-Man Far From Home, as we covered just last week, the sign that says "Citizens to Defend Spider-Man" right next to a Mysterio poster that says "I Believe." There's going to be a separation in how people feel. There's going to be sides to take, and when I say that, I mean on both sides of the coin. Some people will support superheroes, some people will be against them. And then on the superhero side, some people will want to fight for their rights and others will want to act peacefully. One side will be Magneto, the other side will be Charles Xavier. I personally can't wait for that day to come, but in the meantime, and over the next couple of phases, it looks as though Marvel is specifically going out of their way to make sure that when we get to that landscape of uncertainty in the population about how to feel about superheroes, it's because it's based on all of the narrative that's led up to it. Man, I cannot wait for the future of the MCU. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. Were you able to follow me all the way through this? It definitely looks like the changing of the sword name to Sentient Weapon Observation and Response to Vision is definitely letting you know the government views Vision, Wanda, and all these other superheroes as threats and weapons, not as the superheroes they are, just continuing that narrative from the Infinity Saga. Let me know all your thoughts down below, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away a PlayStation 5 at 800,000 subscribers and some new subscriptions to Disney Plus tomorrow for the 3rd episode of WandaVision. If you want to be entered to win or any of the future prizes here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced when picked at the end of videos in the same segment we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content, of course, is to hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, and as always, if you enjoyed today's video and the rest of the content we do here at the channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me over on Instagram and Twitter under I Am Fires. You can find me on Spotify with the handle All Fires, or even on Twitch, twitch.tv/Novellin. There's links down in the description to all four. Thanks for checking out the channel, guys, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.